Plaintiff Sean Connolly knew the defendant from middle school, but he claims they ran with different crowds. Sean claims he heard rumors that the defendant was into drinking, drugs, and had problems with the law, and he's suing her today for hitting his car. Defendant Kristen Nissen admits she had a troubled past and used marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, and crack. At the age of 18, Kristen was sentenced to 6 months in prison, and that's where she got her GED. And she insists Sean is the one who caused the car accident.
Tell me what happened.
I know Kristen, we go back to middle school. We were never directly friends with each other, but kind of, you know, she knew who I was, I knew who she was. We kind of ran with different crowds as a young 13 to 14-year-old. You know, I'd heard rumors that she was kind of into things like drinking, drugs, stuff with the law. So I hadn't heard Kristen's name for a while, got out of high school, didn't hear much about her then until May 9th, 2013, when she hit my vehicle in a roundabout.
All right, let me get to her and allow her to give some background before we get to the specifics of the damages. Yes, ma'am.
Well, yeah, like he said, you know, we've known each other from school. We weren't really friends. I won't deny the fact that I've had a troubled past. I used to smoke weed. I would drink a lot, go out and party all the time. I did coke before. When I was younger, I won't lie, I did crack. All those things happened pretty much while I was growing up. I lived in a very abusive household. My dad was a really bad alcoholic. Pretty much by the time he had died, when I was 16 years old, my world pretty much fell apart. I started getting into a lot of trouble with fighting. I was arrested 3 separate times for it. The first 2 were just disorderly conducts. The third one was for a domestic with a member of my family. When I was 18, I was sentenced to 6 months in jail, where I got my GED, graduated. I completed probation with no problems whatsoever. I'm actually in the process of getting all that expunged. I'm still talking to my former probation officer about it. I got myself into college. I'm actually going for criminal justice to be a DNR agent. I raised my GPA up to a 3.5.
Great success story.
It was
great success story. Great success story.
It was pretty difficult, but honestly, without the help of my fiance, I don't think I would have made it that far.
There?
Yes.
All right. Good guy. Well, I always like to point out that when folks like you encounter such devastation as a young child, as a teenager, your dad died suddenly, or?
Yeah, he had a heart attack in October, and by January he was gone. Yeah,
that would disturb any young adult and send them in a different direction, destructive direction. So.
Right.
I'm sure most people understand that.
Yeah, actually, a lot of my inspiration, I used to watch you a lot, and I heard about, like, your story, how, you know, you were brought up not exactly like me, but yeah, and I saw, you know, if you could get to where you are, then I know, you know, that I could do it.
Thank you. Good. Glad to hear that, because some people tell me to quit talking about my background. Quit talking about that. We know about that. Just talk about something else. You're a lawyer and a judge now. That's why I talk about it.
It's part
so
of
that I can
who you
inspire
are.
other people. That's right. So the folks like you can hear it and try to turn their lives around. So thank you, and maybe someone say, oh, well, it's not so bad for him to keep talking about it. He is changing lives.
Plaintiff Sean Connolly met the defendant in middle school, and she admits that she had a troubled past and has used marijuana, cocaine, and crack.
Let me hear from you about the specifics on the car damages.
Yeah, so I was on my way home from work about 11:30 at night. I was just getting back into my hometown. I came in through the roundabout. I noticed Kristen's car on my right-hand side. When you're inside of a roundabout, I'm sure you know the person that's coming in is supposed to yield to the car that's currently in the roundabout. She didn't yield to me. And she ended up causing $2,800 worth of damage to my car, which is how much I'm suing her for. Do you want to see some evidence?
Yes. And did you all discuss?
So here's a police report which clearly states, if I can read it.
Oh, you can read it. Go ahead.
Kristen says, I didn't yield. It was my fault. I should have slammed on my brakes.
That was taken completely out of context.
Let's see,
It's in the
man.
police
That's
report.
not
That's hard to take out of context, man.
That wasn't what
So
I
here's
said.
the damage to my car. We got 3 different photos if you'd like to check them out, if they're important or not.
All right.
I've also got text message conversations where Kristen indicates she is planning on paying for the damages.
All right. Ma'am, what do you say about this?
With what he said, I said about the I should have slammed on my brakes. That was not what I said. What said
happened?
when
Tell me what happened.
I was coming up to the roundabout. It was raining. It was pouring out. My fiance was on the other side of the roundabout. I was going to meet him. And I was starting to slow down to slam on my brakes, and I was well, not slam, but coming to to yield at least. And I slid on top of the like white writing that's in the roads to like tell you which way to go and stuff. And I slid on it where he actually hit me. I didn't hit him. He hit me, first of all.
Do you have anything that says that?
I mean, there's pictures of my car and his car where...
You told me
He
when you
has a
hit
report,
me, you told me
I'm not arguing
I'm
with
not
you.
going to go with your opinion. I'm going to go with independent evidence. And do you have any independent evidence? Because he has independent evidence that said you didn't yield, it was your fault, and you should have slammed on your brakes.
I guess all that I can say was that was taken completely out of context when me and
Put
him...
it in context. What did you mean when you said, I didn't yield?
My car physically did not stop. While I tried to stop, my car did not. That was what I was saying.
Could I
Okay,
point
car,
out that-
hold on, sir. Car didn't stop. What else? It was my fault. What did you mean by that?
Everybody was going to say it was my fault because my car
No,
did not
you said
stop.
it.
Yeah,
What did you mean by it was my fault?
That everybody we go to about this, whether it's lawyers or court or
No,
any...
you didn't say somebody's going to say it. You said it was my fault. You made that statement to him.
I know. When we were talking, when I said I'm going to get sued, he goes, no, you're not. I said, in the eyes of everybody else, I physically did not stop. Therefore,
What about
it was my
the statement,
fault.
I should have slammed on my brakes?
I didn't say that. I said I did try slamming on my brakes. When I tried stopping, my car slid, forcing me into the roundabout.
Plaintiff Sean Connolly met the defendant in middle school, and she admits that she had a troubled past and has used marijuana, cocaine, and crack.
You have an obligation to make sure your car is always under control. Weather is not a defense in the law. Weather you're supposed to accommodate. A person can't drive 70 miles an hour on a freeway and say, I did nothing wrong, when they slam into someone as a result of the weather. If you see that there is ice, you can't do 70 even though the speed limit says you can do 70. No, you have to accommodate what you see. You see ice, and you should know that if I see ice and I do 70 miles per hour, there's going to be an accident. So the weather is not a defense. The law expects for folks to see the weather and accommodate it. What else did you want to say, sir?
I just wanted to point out that when we left the scene of the accident to assess the damages and kind of discuss how things were going to get paid for and where we'd go from there, her brakes worked just fine when she parked in the parking lot.
Good enough. And she said she would pay or not?
I got
told
some
me
text
that,
message conversations if you'd like to take a look at them.
Just read it.
These are just excerpts. I could maybe do a down payment arrangement with them. Another one states, I don't have money like you guys do. I'll know tomorrow what I can give for a down payment.
Oh, so you agreed to give something?
Yeah, I did.
People only
Originally,
agree to give something when they've done something wrong.
I was afraid that he was going to come at me with lawyers.
And he
court.
did.
Yeah, he was from
So
the
it didn't make any difference for you to give him something because he did it anyway.
Yeah, from the get-go, I was afraid because I know his family has a lot more money than I do.
If you were afraid, then you would have been more... You would have worked with me a little bit more. You were being very defensive, and you were not telling me how you were going to get the money to me. I didn't want it to come to this, Kristen. I was trying to work with you.
I'd rather not speak with you,
All right,
please.
ma'am, you were negligent in your operation of your vehicle. Your negligence led to his damages, and you indicated you wanted to pay him, which is also an acknowledgement of liability. Therefore, I'll grant him a judgment, $2,878. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
stop in the roundabout first of all, which would have completely avoided the accident to begin with.
But it's not my fault. I didn't stop. You're the one that hit my car. It's not my responsibility to stop in the middle of the roundabout.
I'm not talking to you. In the middle, you didn't stop when you were going into it in the first place. He saw you. That's the law. If you would have stopped to begin with, the accident never would have. Yeah, yield.
There was nobody coming around the other side of the roundabout. It doesn't matter. When
the cops came after, he said whether there's cars in there or not, you have to yield.
Did your roommate leave without notice before your lease expired, and now you don't know what to do about it? Ask me about it on my website, askjudgemathis.com.